This video is going to have a look at the two different ways that you can prepare a soluble salt. Now, you should be familiar with this, with what we did in the additional topic, and I will link a video to that to show you how I did it, and then I'll very briefly run over it again here. The first method is by reacting an acid and an insoluble reactant together. So for example, reacting copper oxide, which is a solid and insoluble, with hydrochloric acid. When you react those two together, it will form copper chloride. And you'll also get water given off. Now this is soluble, thus the title, preparing a soluble solid. So I've taken an insoluble one, reacted it with an acid, and it's prepared a soluble solid for me. So step one, you add the acid to the base. The oxide is the base, which is an insoluble solid. Number two, it will react. And you'll know when it's finished reacting because the waste will sink to the bottom. Then you've got your copper chloride in solution with your liquid. You tip it into some filter paper, and it will come through in here as your solution of copper chloride and water. Now if you wanted to collect the salt, the copper chloride itself, what you do is you then pop it into your evaporating basin and heat it gently. This will evaporate off the water and leave you with solid copper chloride. The second method is by reacting an acid with a soluble reactant. So an example of this is sulfuric acid reacted with sodium hydroxide. Now when you do that, that will form a soluble salt, which in this case is sodium sulfate. And because it's another neutralization reaction, you'll get water given off. Now, in order to know exactly how much of A you need to add to B to get it completely neutral, to make sure you've only got sodium sulfate left in there, you do a titration reaction. Now, the first step is to run a series of practice ones. So take your sulfuric acid, take your sodium hydroxide, and then add in an indicator. So that indicator might be phenolphthalein, it might be methyl orange, it might be any other type of indicator. Now what you do is you carry out a titration and you find out how much of one it takes to neutralize the other, this to change colour. Say it took 25 ml exactly. You would then repeat until you had 3 to within 0.1 decimal place of each other. And then you would do exactly the same titration again, but this time without the indicator, to make sure you only had the sodium sulfate left in the bottom. So you do the titration, adding in exactly, in this case, 25 ml. I will then know that this is completely neutral, and then I can do exactly the same as before. Heat it gently, and this will leave me with my sodium sulfate. If you want more information on how to carry out the titrations, watch the next video.